So we created CertaHash for enterprise clients that have difficulty mitigating some of the data breaches that are occurring on a daily basis. The average detection time for a network breach is 212 days, and we just find that completely unacceptable. There's so much down the line impact, as we saw with the SolarWinds hack in the United States, where 18,000 direct customers were affected, as well as the entire United States government. Uber announced that they had over 35 million of their customers' records hacked and stolen. That information makes its way to the dark web and affects the average consumer significantly. For the average United States enterprise, if a hack goes beyond 30 days, the average cost of that is almost $9 million. So when you're thinking that the average time to detect that hack is 212 days, that starts to add up. And then even globally, that cost beyond 30 days is over $5 million, so close to $4.87 million. So you can start to see how much of an economic and reputational impact that this has on a business entity. Utilizing blockchain, you can distribute those records individually, and it becomes much more costly for somebody to hack all of those records rather than one single honeypot of information. So it really provides, again, this resilient infrastructure that allows for real-time notification of potential events that are occurring on the network. Currently, a mission-critical time period for log detection in a legacy environment is 5 minutes. So that's the very upper echelon of military-grade type of detection software. 5 minutes is still a huge window of opportunity for any breach to occur, and for those attackers to obfuscate their entry and really embolden themselves into your network, and as well as kind of go undetected. So by lowering the window, which is exactly what Sentinel Node does, we're able to lower that time frame to where a hacker could potentially cause harm. And now it allows a CISO or an administrator to instantly begin doing some forensics and intelligence to harden down their network and ensure that their data is with integrity and safe. For standard log detection, you're looking at 30 to 90 days notification for small business, mid-market, enterprise businesses. And this is extremely unfortunate in the sense that these are also hospitals and schools. Now, I've worked with hospitals that have been attacked. Some of them are still working with like paper and pencil. And as you can imagine, in a hospital healthcare setting, that is just unimaginable for the care of their patients. By lowering the cost and providing a more real-time detection software, it really provides a more resilient and profound change in the way that attacks and hacks can be detected. And it lowers the cost for any of these entities to really have a mission-critical type of log detection system. And it also lowers the cost and changes the dynamic in which these services are provided to businesses. Currently, they are sold on a per-machine license, which if a business with 100,000 employees, they would be spending quite a bit of money. It could cost anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 per license per machine, as well as there's additional cost as they have to store these records in a third-party system outside of their current system. So they're sending this vital information outside of their own network, and they're having to pay to store that data, and then the software that they utilize analyzes that data and then provides them back any anomalies or events that have occurred. But as I mentioned, that could be 30 to 90 days before they're notified, or even 5 hours. And at that point, a hacker can really sit into your system and potentially be there forever. A lot of businesses suffer from the fact that there's so much churn in the IT and cybersecurity industry. Average tenure for a CISO may be 3 years, 2 years. And as you can imagine, there's a whole suite of cybersecurity tools that they purchase today. And a lot of these are proprietary and they don't exactly work very well together. which limits the functionality of, say, the CISO or an administrator to understand what that health and performance of that network is. There's no single pane of glass, or a SPOG that they would call it in the industry, to kind of see this oracle and health and potential events that are happening there. The BSV blockchain has a particular set of capabilities and benefits that other blockchains just have not been able to provide, which includes micropayments and the scaling ability. When we're thinking about hashing network logs or system logs, you have 86,400 seconds in a day. And if you were to provide that level of attestation on your network, you need the ability to scale beyond the likes of what we can do in a legacy environment. And you need to be able to do that cost effectively. And with micropayments, 1/5000th of a penny, you can really start to see where hashing these records on chain and providing this time chain of events for detection aspect not only lowers that window of opportunity for a cyber breach to occur, but also provides the ability to kind of lower these data silos that are being built to protect and maintain their information now. BSV specifically provides the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of these records to be distributed publicly across a public permissionless blockchain.
Hi, my name is Greg Ward. I am the Chief Development Officer of Smart Ledger, and today I'm going to show you the ease and simplicity of installing Sentinel Node by CertaHash, and we will run through the process and I will show you how to install it and how to deal with alerts and detections of any kind of breaches. Alright, when we first land on Sentinel Node, we want to log in with our E2 wallet, which is our blockchain-enabled wallet, which will provide a private and public key pair for the system admin of an organization. Once signed up with E2, we're brought back to Sentinel Node, and we are prompted to create our first organization. We enter the organization's name, email address, and we create our organization. After our organization has been created, activation link has been sent to the email address of the system admin. Once we log back in with the system admin activated address, we define a new user. While we define our new user, we decide whether it is a regular user or an admin, someone who can dismiss and reset the chain alerts. As we see, we have a new user, but it has not been activated as the new user has been invited by email and they still have to activate their new account. After the new user has been activated, we could see on the dashboard that there is an active notification. We're able to, as an admin, edit the new user, delete the new user, or change the administrative capabilities, whether they're an admin or a regular user. At this point, we want to define our devices that we'll be monitoring. And so we go ahead and add our new device. At this point, we want to name the device, add a simple description, define the path to the device on the agent's network, and define the health interval upon which we will be monitoring this device. At this point, we could turn on or off the monitoring for this device. We select to keep it on and we add the device. Once the device is added, we choose the files upon which will be monitored on this device. Again, we see the device name and we begin to add the files. We name the file, add a small description, the path to the file on the device, what type of file it is, whether this file will be editable or not editable, the monitoring frequency, whether the file is rolled or not rolled, and we choose once again whether we want to automatically add this to the device for monitoring. We can turn this on or off at this point. All right, once we add that file, we could add another one at this point with the same process. Once our files are added, we could see on our dashboard the files that have been added. And we could also search in our search bar for different files and devices. At this point, we want to export our configuration to be installed on the network. As you see here, this is our configuration file that we will be downloading and installing on the network. At this point, we see that the health is 100%, but the performance is 50% because there's not actually any devices installed on the network. And so we go ahead and we install the device. We installed the exported agent software onto the device. At this point, we see that the performance is 100% and the health is 100% because our connected devices are connected and they are currently running and being monitored. Let us go ahead and hack the file that we're monitoring to show what happens upon a breach or unauthorized file change. We see currently the hashes that have been created from the files that we're monitoring. And we go ahead and modify this file. For this modification, we add a simple line to the file. And we see that there's a hash breach in this file at this point. Because there's only one connected device, the health is now 0%. Performance is still 100% because connected devices are still running. At this point, the alert that's received by the system admin is able to be zoomed in and looked at to see which file and which device was breached and more details about the breach. Once the file has been identified and the breach has been analyzed, if it's determined that the file is actually supposed to be updated or changed and it was something that was authorized, it is possible for the system admin to then dismiss the alert. Once the admin decides to dismiss the alert, they are prompted to leave a note. In fact, they're required to leave a note. And once the note is submitted, it is signed by the private key of the system admin for accountability purposes. At this point, we see the health is fine and the hash chain is back intact. Let us go ahead and modify it once again and show what happens when there is a breach and we want to reset the chain. At this point, we remove part of the log files. Once again, we see a hash breach. The health is 0%, but performance is still 100%, as all connected devices are still connected. As noted, we can also do a search upon any of the events, whether it be within a time interval or specifically customized for the file or the dates. As we see the hash break and zoom in, we see that the hash length has changed, or the file length has changed. And once the system admin has zoomed in and decided what exactly has been happening and decides that it is actually an unauthorized breach, they decide to reset the chain after the breach has been taken care of. And once again, the system admin is prompted and required to leave a note and sign with their private public key pair. Once the hash chain is reset and the breach has been corrected, we will see that our dashboard shows us once again there we are at 100% health and 100% performance. And that today is our simple demonstration of how easy it is to install Sentinel Node by Certahash. Thank you so much.